to another Doggone podcast. I'm your host, Mike the Mad Dog. We're here in the CEC studios, and the person sitting here next to me is a former UGA field goal kicker. He got 35 career field goals, 117 extra points. In 1999, he was a top 5 in the SEC. He is Mr. Hap Hines. How are you, sir?
It's good to be back. You doing all right,
I am
Mad
doing
Dog?
fine. It's awesome to be here.
Like I said, that was a good. I tell everybody that was a good 25 years ago, 85 pounds ago, or see all the above. So, like I said, well, I'll just leave it at that. But some good times, great memories, and wonderful teammates.
That's right. You had a record one time, didn't you?
I think at one time it was actually bested the previous year. My former boss, Principal Steve Allen at East Coweta High School, he's a big Kentucky Wildcat fan, so he always used to tease me and said the record would fall. And last year it did. I guess I had the longest field goal. It's kind of a notorious or more of an unknown record, but I had the longest field goal in that stadium. And then last year, the Wildcat place kicker made it, and so like I said, no longer stands. I'm just glad people even knew in the first place.
That's good. Hey, listen, college football week 1's already in the books.
Yes.
What were some of your thoughts on week 1?
I did not do very hot with my picks. I had Baylor beating Auburn. I had Boise State beating Central Florida. I had Colorado beating Georgia Tech. And I'm trying to think, and I did take Ohio State over Texas. I think the one thing that maybe I was on was the fact that I'm just not quite ready to jump on the Arch Manning bandwagon.
No, I don't think anybody is after the game.
And after his performance, I think that kind of showed that my train of thought was on the tracks with that one.
Well, let's talk about that game. It was a very defensive game, which Julian Sayin didn't do very well either. But I mean, he did fairly better because he got 2 touchdowns. Right. But what do you think the problem was with Arch? Was it too big for the moment, or was he just what happened there?
To the kid's credit, he's got a lot on him, and it all starts with the name not on the front of his jersey but on the back of his jersey being Manning. I just thought if he was up to the hype, he would have started last year. I remember seeing him, and granted, he is really grown, I'm sure, since he first got to campus. But I remember he enrolled early, and his first spring practice was really, as you can expect, a series of growing pains and things like that. But I've just been hearing, and then to say, he was going to be a Heisman Trophy favorite, I kind of tend more to what Steve Spurrier said. If he was so good, how come he wasn't starting last year over Quinn Ewers? But those were 2 great defenses we saw out there. So that doesn't mean the kid's going to be a flop or anything. But it just wasn't there the first game, and I still think he's got a lot of growing to do.
Yeah, I want to talk about Steve Sarkisian. There were a few times where they were in field goal range, and he chose to go for it on 4th down. And I think that really hurt him. That would have taken some pressure off of him, especially as low-scoring game as it was, because I'm from the old school way. When you got an opportunity to get points on the board, you're a former field goal kicker, you know how it is, put points on the board. I think that would have helped. I mean, it was a 7-point game. Right. That could have made the difference. With 2 or 3 field goals could have made the difference in that game. So I don't understand. Do you know what his thinking was? Why he did that?
I've seen it both ways. Les Miles. I remember in 2007. He went for 4th down 6 times and was 6 for 6. And I remember they asked him against Florida. They asked him what was his rationale, and he just said, "I just felt it in my gut that we could get it." A lot of times you just got to kind of feel where the tempo of the game is. I guess that's the only thing I can say that was maybe going through Sark's mind there, that he thought maybe it was just better to try to get the 1st down and keep the drive going and get 6 out of it instead of a field goal.
Yeah, but I mean, like it's not like you're playing, a cupcake team in the beginning of the season, like Georgia got to do. You're playing at Ohio State. You're in the shoe.
Right.
It's a big game. It's one of the biggest games that everybody's talking about. To me, putting points on the board is more important than just having a gut feeling, because that defense was not going to let you get away with anything. And any chance you get to get any kind of points, I would have taken it.
I respect that. I agree, and I agree with you. I'm trying to think what maybe his train of thought was there, and I guess I've heard coaches always fall back on the old adage, it was in my gut that I thought we could get it. So, but obviously it didn't work out for him. So, I'm sure hindsight being 2020, he'd like to probably have just put points on the board. Just like
no, it didn't work out. And here's another thing that a lot of people messed up on. What about Alabama and FSU?
I missed that pick.
I honestly can tell you, I think a lot of people missed that pick.
I didn't think Alabama would cover the 13.5, but I did not expect them. I did not expect what went down Saturday to go down.
It looked like that first drive they just looked like Alabama
business as normal.
Business as usual. They up 7-0. Like I said, I glanced at the game. I was watching Georgia. It was on at the same time, and then I come back. Florida State tied it. Okay, and then the more I started looking, and the more I was like, "What is going on here?" Like they never got anything past, and it was just one thing after another. And the more I looked at it, it just not only did it not look like the Alabama of old, but it just looked like they just had a lack of motivation during that game. There was a lot of tackles that just looked like they just gave up on.
There's one you go to see I think it's like a slot receiver who goes to put a block on an Alabama DB and absolutely just knocks him over. I haven't seen something like that happen to an Alabama player, and God knows when. It's a different era now. And I think, everyone is sitting there talking, let's bring back Nick Saban. I think people need to realize, I think this is kind of why this NIL portal, my personal opinion, and I think he's on record as saying it, why he got out of it in the first place. So, it's like a $70 million buyout. I don't think Alabama wants to do that. A.J. McCarron came out and said also that he didn't think Alabama's NIL pot is that's near something like some of the Texas schools and things like that. So do I think Kalen DeBoer is a good coach? I certainly do. Is it a great fit?
It doesn't
seem to be just yet
right now.
It doesn't seem to be just yet. I thought it was I thought at the time they got the best coach on the market. I think he is a good coach. Whether or not, but coaching at Alabama is a whole different animal. And I guess the flip side to that, where in his defense, then who is the right person coming in 2 years removed from Nick Saban? I don't think that person exists.
I said this when I knew eventually Nick Saban, would probably leave the program and retire or whatever. And I said this, I said, I would take any job in any school, anywhere, except following Nick Saban in Alabama. It's not going to be the same. It's never going to be the same. I feel the same way, and I don't want to jinx anything. I feel the same way eventually going down the road when Kirby Smart decides that he doesn't want to do this anymore.
It's going to be a hard one to fill.
It's never going to be the same. Right. And a lot of fans are, they're not ready for that. They're like, we wish Nick would come back. Nick got out because things are chaotic. Things are not getting any better.
Right.
They're still chaotic, so he doesn't want to come back into it because players care more about what they're going to get. There's a lot of players that get offered money they never even taken one snap on the field. So I don't think anything. He's not coming back, obviously, and I really don't know who they would get to fill their shoes. I know they don't want to get into a situation like like you said, some of those Texas programs or Florida one time. Florida was still paying off some of their coaches when they were trying to get rid of somebody. It's just not going to click a lot of times, right. Especially that first one right after Nick Saban. Right. I think it's going to take a couple coaches to get the Alabama team back where everybody wants it to be.
Knowing what their expectations are and everything, yeah. But at the same time, I guess I sit back and I can look at, I guess the big picture is I do think Kalen DeBoer is a great coach. I just, you can see how ruthless it can get out there when you drop a game that you're supposed to win, and that was definitely one that he should have won.
Well, see, everybody, and credit to FSU.
Credit to FSU.
I mean,
and Mike Norvell.
I was saying the same thing. I was like, Norvell was preaching to his team the entire offseason. Listen, we won 2 games last year.
Right.
That cannot happen again. And they got motivated. Credit to them. They got motivated, and they were ready to go. And I guess everybody thought they were just going to roll over them again.
And I think we got to give props to Castellanos, the quarterback. He called his shot in the summer, the time when he said it, I thought, oh my gosh, he's lost his mind. But he called his shot, and he went out there and proved it.
Well, he was motivated. He got the team motivated, and
he deserves a lot of credit for doing that. That's gutsy.
Yeah, that team's on cloud nine right now. I can promise you that. The FSU there, and I think this could motivate them into having a much better season than they had last year. And I think FSU fans are probably incredibly happy about that.
And it goes to show how quickly your roster can flip from one year to next. I've seen it before in basketball. Now we're seeing it in football. So that you can truly and I guess FSU is probably going to, because they looked very good. And I think they're going to have a very good season, moving forward. I don't think it was just that game was an anomaly. I think they are definitely well set, poised, and have the talent to have a great season, getting the college playoffs. But again, and that will just go to show that it's possible in college football just to flip from one season to the next.
I've seen it before, and I've told people it doesn't matter if you have a great football team and you kept most of your roster. Every season, your team takes on a different personality. Something's going to be different. It's not going to be it can't be a carbon copy of what it was last year. And everybody wants it to be, we're going to be the same way we were last year. Something's going to be different every time. And FSU, I said this before. I did say this in the offseason. I said they got nowhere to go but up. They only won 2 games last year. How can it get any worse? And this first game really got the players motivated. That quarterback got everybody motivated.
They came out hyped. Their stadium's been newly renovated. I mean, a lot of things were just clicking at the right time. So
and nobody talked about them a lot. Nobody talked about the fact that he hired Gus Malzahn, who was a coach that exactly knows how to beat Alabama.
He's had a lot of success against Alabama.
A very good offensive-minded coach. Like a lot of players, I know he's a coach, but he was offensive coordinator. And sometimes when you only take a head coach and put him where he only has to deal with one side of the ball,
all that focus. Yeah,
no.
He can focus strictly on
all
the
he does is just worry about the offense.
You've seen
that's
now.
all.
Yeah, you've seen guys like Chip Kelly give up big-time jobs to go be a coordinator. He left the head coach at UCLA to go be the coordinator at Ohio State, and then now he's offense coordinator in the NFL. So I think he's with the Raiders. I could be wrong. I think so, but I'm Chip Kelly with the Raiders.
Yeah, I think that's where he went. But I'll tell you this. Let's talk about, Miami and Notre Dame.
I got that one wrong.
You got that one wrong? You thought Notre Dame was going to come?
I thought Notre Dame was going to win. I thought UNC was going to win. Boy, I could not have been more. We can get to that in a minute.
We can have a whole podcast on the fact that what went on there. But I want to talk about Miami now. Carson Beck, he came out and he looked better than I thought he was going to look.
He looked really good.
He looked really good. Now that leads me to believe that something happened at Georgia, because the first season he looked good. Second season, not so much, throwing picks somehow. I don't know if he lost the locker room. I don't know what happened there, but something happened there, and he seems to have found his groove in Miami.
Georgia had a lot of drop passes last year. Some people can attribute it to that. Sometimes people just need a new change of scenery. They just do. It's kind of a reboot, a reset, and that might be kind of what he needed. I don't hear near the Lamborghini comments or anything like that,
no.
Or girlfriend or things like that. So it might give him a chance. He's down there in South Beach, where you've got a lot of distractions to say the least. But he looked very, very good. He looked like, and it also goes to show that going and getting a successful veteran quarterback, that's going to be I think you're going to see a trend where you've got a veteran quarterback on a team have the option to go to another team moving forward for a lot of money, because I think that's what Miami did. Look, I don't blame the kid for going to another school to get $4 million. I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Do I like the way he did it? Not particularly. I mean, did I like all the things, the TikToks and just all the extra noise that came with him when he was at Georgia? I didn't care for that. I don't knock him for going to Miami because they were going to pay him $4 million. That's life-changing money. Whether or not I agree that you can get that kind of money, that's needless to say. I think they do deserve to get paid. I don't know what the answer is. Where's the balance in that? I don't know. but he looked very, very good. And the thing that came to my mind is I think you're going to see some of these guys that go and let's just say they've been at a Power 5 school for 3 years or 2 years, and they've had a lot of high success being a quarterback at that school. I think going in their senior year, I think a team that is needing a quarterback as that piece is willing to pay money like $4 million if that is the case. I think you're going to see more and more of that. It's not going to shock me if the starting quarterback at this Power 5 school that's a football, mecca, have a veteran quarterback, and then he just goes to another Power 5 school at the drop of a hat out of nowhere because they're going to offer him almost double the money.
Well, the difference with that is, to me, you're paying an experienced quarterback. You saw what he can do on the field.
And you saw what he can do.
You saw what he can do. It's not like some of these 5-stars come in and they're paying them and they haven't even taken one snap.
I thought in that Notre Dame game, his experience really stood out. And
his ability to read
that was
defenses.
The difference in the team. And
his ability to read defenses, and it was
that guy, the number 7. I think he's a Georgia kid, from Gwinnett County, who made that one-handed catch. That was amazing.
Yes.
When you've got guys and weapons that can do things like that, I think they had a freshman number 10 who was really, really good. He's got some weapons there, and that makes all the difference too. But you could definitely see his experience and his savviness, just knowing the offense. Really, in my opinion, I thought it was very abundant in that game.
We're going to bring up that one-handed catch a little later. Let's talk about the team that we love, and that's the Georgia Bulldogs. Now, I know they played Marshall,
right, but
did Gunner Stockton, did he come out and was what you thought he was going to be?
I thought he played solid, and I also think that they are holding some things back that they may use for some of the more conference games. I mean, he's got Tennessee in 2 weeks. They took care of business early. They got an early lead and never going into the halftime. It was everything was well endowed there. I mean, they were going to win the ball game.
I said this before. I said the offense was very vanilla. Mm-hmm. And I think Kirby did that on purpose. Like you said, I think he's going to play everything close to the vest. It's not only that, when they got the lead, I mean, Kirby, he said it in the press conference afterwards. He didn't care about stats. He doesn't care about
he wants to win.
Yeah, he wants to win. Yeah. But he changed out and played more people because the more experience you get those guys, the better off you're going to be.
I think you wanted to get Puglisi some experience too.
Puglisi looked pretty good.
He did look very good. Zachariah Branch is going to be amazing.
Fast.
So, I mean, you saw what he could do just on a screen pass or a simple hitch, and he turned it into about a 70-yard touchdown. So I thought Georgia looked real good. Defensively, they looked very sound. Again, they've got Austin Peay this week. We will know in 2 weeks when they go to Knoxville, because I do think Tennessee is a better team than what people may have thought, especially with all the offseason.
Well, everybody else
stuff.
has got everything wrong. I mean, you might as well get that wrong too.
Right.
I mean,
they
looked real good against Syracuse. Mm-hmm. I have to admit that. The quarterback looked like he was making right reads. Everything looked good for him. But Georgia's defense, to me, looked incredibly hungry. Like, they looked like the defense that I'm used to seeing out of Georgia. Mm-hmm. And to me, that's what Kirby wanted. Probably he had those guys. They were stopping the run. They were stopping everything. And they said at the end, were you upset because you had shut them out? And at the very end, they got that one garbage touchdown. Right. And Kirby said, "Look, I'm playing more guys on defense. I'm putting all those guys out there. I'd rather them give up one touchdown like that in that game
and learn something
than to give up a play in an SEC opponent, which is going to cost us down the road." And another thing he did that too is that he wanted to save his starters because of injury. You don't have the depth because of NIL. Everybody's jumping ship. So nobody has the depth anymore that they used to.
That's a good point.
So what he's doing is he's saving his players for when the games they really need. I mean, like next week with Austin Peay, we'll probably see the same thing. I'm going to watch it. You're going to watch it. Every Georgia fan is going to watch it. But you're going to see the same thing probably. Vanilla offense, we're probably going to get Puglisi back in there. But the defense has got to stay hungry.
If it's a Kirby Smart defense, they're going to be starving. I mean, they're going to be very, very hungry. But I think you are spot on with everything you're saying. So I think it was a step in the right direction for Gunner Stockton, and I think he's going to just get better and better. But I do think like what I once thought, that I thought going to Knoxville we might be all right. That's going to be a big time game and a big time atmosphere and a real tough opponent.
Let's talk about some dogs of the week here.
Yeah.
Some players that actually really did good. Now, you were talking about Baylor. You got that wrong. But Baylor's quarterback,
Yeah,
he actually did good.
He put up some stats.
Yeah, he did. 419 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no interceptions.
Yeah.
It wasn't enough. The defense wasn't enough to stop Auburn. But that quarterback, see, that's the kind of quarterback that you can look at.
Yeah.
And if another team wanted him, he could,
there you have it right there.
You got it right there. You know what he can do. Even, it's not his fault the defense didn't stop the offense, because he did what he was supposed to do.
I did think, one of my predictions that I did have right, and kind of my dark horse for the Heisman is Lenore Sellers.
Oh, yes.
And I did think he was going to show out against Virginia Tech, and he did just that. But yeah, I mean, going back to Sawyer Robertson at Baylor, I mean, he had a heck of a night, and I credit to Auburn. That wasn't an easy way to start the season on the road, big time environment out in Waco, Texas. So Auburn is much improved, and Georgia's got to go there. I mean, it is. Golly, that schedule is just anyone that plays in the SEC, it's a lot.
It looks like a bigger gauntlet than you thought before. And, here's the thing. The players that we thought were going to be easy are the ones we're actually worried about. And then when you see Alabama and Texas, you're like, oh, maybe that, everybody was worried about those guys. Maybe they're not going to be that big of a deal.
Yeah, but I think the best team out there, that if I've got to make a pick after the first week, I got to go with LSU, and I took Clemson in that game.
Oh, LSU.
They look awesome.
LSU's
defense is amazing,
and credit for them, but they haven't won an opener in 5 years, and you know they were excited about that.
That was a hostile environment, and they went in there, and I mean the defense played lights out. Garrett Nussmeier is a heck of a quarterback. They're going to be a tough out for anybody, but I'll go back to what Steve Sarkisian said before, I think at SEC Media Days. I think the days of seeing someone go undefeated to win the national championship, you've got to be a very, very special team to do that. And I think you're probably going to have a little luck turn your way, too.
That's true, because NIL has made it where teams that you wouldn't even thought would even come close to winning a national championship are actually in the hunt for it.
Yeah.
Because they get the right players.
Thing, and that's kind of one of the subsidiary things that comes with NIL that is a good thing. I do think more parity out there is more excitement, where it was just for a while there, it was just about 4 teams going at it every single year. So from the entertainment standpoint, I like that. Now, do they need to get a handle on some things and some rules? Absolutely. I don't want to talk out of both sides of my mouth. But that's kind of my take on that.
Well, the biggest dog of the week for me was C.J. Daniels. That catch at Miami, that was right before the half, and to me that catch was overthrown. And because of his ability, because I know a lot of quarterbacks that the wide receivers make them look better than they are because of the way they catch the ball. Even if they overshoot them, they do anything like that. Their ability, he reached up and caught that ball.
One-handed.
Yeah, one-handed. Had he not caught that,
extended,
because it came down to a 3-point game, they would not have won that ball game. I don't believe they would have. That play was a key play, and that was an incredible catch.
Who congratulated him first right there on the sideline. I think that was Michael Irvin.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
that's pretty cool to make a play like that, and then to have the playmaker himself, congratulate you right there on the sideline.
I've seen a lot of one-handed catches, like real quick, but the way he reached back and was able to hold on to it and come down with the ball, I thought that by far was the best play I saw in week 1.
That was Miami looks really good, and it looks like the Carson Beck chance is paying off, because I really thought his veteran leadership and ability was evident in that game. Whatever happened at Georgia, I can't speak for it. I wasn't a fan of how he handled it, but he looked like a guy that knew what he was doing out there.
Okay, real quick, let's talk about next week. Now, next week, the big game that I see that's exciting is the Michigan-Oklahoma game. Now, what are your thoughts on that? As Oklahoma had with their quarterback, they've got to do better than they did last year too.
They do. That's funny to say, and they beat Ohio State, but you're right. On a lot of front, and they beat Alabama, and on a lot of fronts, it was a disappointing season for Michigan. I've got Michigan winning in that game. They've got a true freshman quarterback. I didn't get a chance to see him, but I heard he played very, very well. He was the number one, ranked quarterback coming out of high school. So it's going to be his first big test. But I'm going to go with Michigan in that game. I'm not sure yet with Oklahoma. Maybe I'm going on last year, and then again, as we've learned that with college football today, you can be a totally different team than what you were the year before. But right now, I'm going to go with Michigan on the road.
Well, another game that I'm thinking that is Ole Miss and Kentucky. Now, Kentucky beat Ole Miss last year, so I know this is going to be kind of a revenge game for them. And Kentucky did not look that good in their opener.
They did not.
So it's possible that Lane's going to go in there at Kroger Field and absolutely, go in there
I think
win.
Lane Kiffin is not going to forget last year. That was one of the losses that kept him out of that was probably the bad loss that kept him out of the college football playoffs. So I'm going to go with Ole Miss in the revenge game.
Well, Kansas and Missouri. What are you thinking about that one?
Kansas, to their credit, they have really piped in a lot of money into the football program, new stadium, a lot of excitement and all that. But still, I think Eli Drinkowitz is a heck of a coach. I'm going to go with the Mizzou Tigers.
Yeah, I like that quarterback that came in too. I think when I watched that opener, that when that quarterback went out, the offense was kind of flat, and then when that other quarterback came in, it was just humming, and it was amazing how I was watching it work. But of course, UGA has Austin P.
I'm going to take UGA.
Well,
I'm not
yeah,
sure I don't know what the spread is there, but
I haven't found the spread on that either. But whatever it is, I don't think Kirby's gonna match it because he doesn't care.
Right.
He cares. Of course, he's going to take the W, but he's going to, like he said,
they're going to take care of business, whatever that means.
They're going to be cycling in and out players. He said he thinks he does that more than any team right now. Just get those players experience, whether they're freshmen or not. Right. And he said even if he has to give up a couple of garbage touchdowns at the end, he doesn't care. They need the experience when they get on the road in Knoxville, when they go to Auburn, when Texas comes in and Alabama, regardless of what we see. Right. I mean, because Texas and Alabama could get better. I mean, that was just week one. I mean, it was a disappointing week, but still, we don't know what's going to happen.
Right. Did the UNC game surprise you at all? Texas. I mean, I thought
Belichick would be. I did not see. It's just.
It looked awkward him being on a college sideline. It really did.
I've never seen him. They said that's the biggest loss he's ever had. Like I think in his whole career. Like I've never seen anything like. Did he just think
they looked bad?
It looked really bad. And I don't have any love for the Tar Heels, but still.
I did not see that. It was, other than the first drive, that they didn't look good at all. I mean, it's crazy to think of Bill Belichick and to lose a game where you just got out-coached and all that. But it may take a while to adjust to this college level, and he's probably going to have some growing pains with it. Well, but 70 new players that he got through that are on that roster now. So that's hard to take 70 players and get them to gel just like that in one season. So that's part of the new landscape of college football.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming. I mean, like I said, okay, you would have told me they were going to lose. Okay, fine, but I think it would have been a tighter game than that.
When they were interviewing him after the game, he looked almost ticked off because the whole game had been made about Coach Belichick and he thought he had a pretty good bunch too that needed a little bit more.
I know. Everybody. Belichick was the big talk for a long time there.
It was going to be huge no matter what. I mean, when you've got 6 Super Bowl rings, that's going to come with it. But I was shocked nonetheless. Do I think they'll get better? I do. I mean, he's obviously knows how to coach football, but that was a stomping.
I mean, lesson learned. I don't know what he's going to take away from that. I can only imagine. I mean, he looked awkward in the press conference, but I mean, Belichick never really says much of anything anyway.
I was about to say, he's always kind of awkward in his press conferences. Doesn't want to say much. Keep things close to the vest. Keep people guessing. That's just kind of Bill Belichick mystique right there.
I saw a coach that said he asked Belichick for a favor one time and said Belichick just looked at him when he kept talking and he never said a word. And he was like, you know what, Coach, never mind. I don't want to do it. He said he just never said a word, but he knew he was never going to agree with him on it. He never said, oh, yeah, go ahead and do that. He said he was just like, you know what? I'm sorry, Coach. I didn't mean to bring it up. He said he never had to say anything. He said Belichick would just look at you and I can't do that. That's not happening. I'm sorry. But anyway, I'm looking forward to next week.
Yeah, me too.
I'm looking forward to next week. I'm looking forward to sitting down with you and discussing it. And I hope everybody has enjoyed this episode. And this has been another Doggone podcast. And I'm Mike the Mad Dog here in the CEC studios. And doggone it, I'm out.